ESPN, the world leader in motorsports coverage, presents Speed World. We're off to sunny Southern California, the Los Angeles Coliseum, about to host the dramatic final round of the 1992 AMA Camel Supercross Championship season. It will be an unusual afternoon race. It is guaranteed to be filled with drama. It plays out in a stadium built for the Olympics. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the biggest day of the 92 Supercross season here on ESPN. I'm Dave Mustaine with Larry Myers, and it's all come down to the series finale. Consider Damon Bradshaw, Jeff Stanton, and Jean-Michel BAYLE within 10 points for the championship. But that's not the biggest headline story here. The story is that after 15 weeks of equivocating and waffling and refusing to answer the question, Larry Myers is finally going to predict who's going to win this championship.
Boy, you've been putting me on the spot. I'm ready to answer it now, though. Damon Bradshaw will have to have a total collapse. It could happen, Dave, but I rather doubt it. All he needs is a third place, and he's going to walk home with a title. Now, if he rides for third place, then that could be a problem for the young Yamaha ace, who's already wrapped up 9 victories this season. I don't see that happening. I think Damon Bradshaw is going to go for it right from the gun, and I think we're looking at a brand-new championship.
Keep in mind that Damon, on a couple of occasions, has had major difficulties this year, and it's worth going back to recap the season to date to set up this grand finale here in the LA Coliseum. Two-time series champion Jeff Stanton came in as one of the preseason favorites, but his teammate Jean-Michel BAYLE came in as the reigning champ. BAYLE had taken the crown away from Stanton last year, and it's no secret that there is a bit of hostility between these two. JMB reluctantly signs an autograph, and we move on to the third of the title contenders, and how spectacular Damon Bradshaw has been this year.
Indeed, the young man coming into the LA Coliseum, the season finale, with 9 victories. It all started, of course, in Orlando, Florida, and upstart Mike LaRocco, not mentioned in our preseason previews. He's going to go on and take the win, now being challenged, though, by one of the contenders, Jeff Stanton.
Here's one of the reasons he was able to take the win. Stanton's season didn't get off to a great start. As he tumbled in the opener, LaRocco went on to the victory. It would prove to be his only win of the year. We move to the Atlanta Fulton County Stadium. Jean-Michel BAYLE and Damon Bradshaw in a great race. Bradshaw blitzed him. Bradshaw ran off a string of 5 consecutive victories. It looked like the championship was over before it ever began. I didn't think he was going to crack.
He did the chop for him in Atlanta, and he chopped up the competition. Bradshaw was unbelievable, and I would have to think that until Daytona, I think everyone had agreed with us, Dave, that it was all over. Color the championship in Bradshaw's name. But Stanton came back at Daytona. This was his track. He did the winning, and that kind of opened the door for Team Honda.
Charlotte, North Carolina marked a psychological turning point. These are the Hondas side-by-side up front in Damon Bradshaw's hometown. Everybody here came to see number 4 win. Damon struggled to a 6th place finish, while BAYLE took the victory. And then it was on to Indianapolis, and that was the physical turning point in the series. Bradshaw racing with Stanton, the 2 American title contenders. But watch what happens as Bradshaw comes through the whoop-de-doos and crashes hard. He injured his wrist, came back to settle for a 19th place finish at that race, and suddenly the man who appeared invincible was forced to play catch-up in the battle for this 92 championship.
Before the season was over, Dave, we would see Damon Bradshaw play catch-up on numerous occasions. Next stop on the series, though, was stop number 1 in the catch-up department, Pontiac, Michigan, the Silverdome, a doubleheader, and now we're in Jeff Stanton's backyard. So what did Bradshaw do? He returned the favor that Honda gave him in Charlotte. He swept both nights of the Pontiac doubleheader to again move into command or control of the points position.
That was the second time in the series that I thought he had it wrapped up. Here is the moment when I think Bradshaw really came unglued. He got in a grudge race with Jeff MATIASEVICH. They collided on the racetrack, and Bradshaw, as you see, crashed himself out in Las Vegas and was a lap down up here on the outside of the racetrack as the Hondas ran 1-2. Damon fell to 3rd in the championship. Team Yamaha filed a desperation protest contending that the winning Hondas were illegal. Well, the AMA, under great pressure to make sure that this championship was decided legally, did an awful lot of checking and measuring and found that they were, in fact, legal. Bradshaw falls again in an up-and-down season. Yet another down, but followed quickly by an up.
Well, that time he lost the lead. Jean-Michel BAYLE took over the #1 spot, but that spectacular save off a triple cost BAYLE the lead as Bradshaw was able to rebound one more time. And here Bradshaw regains the #1 position in Dallas, and that's going to put him closer and closer to that #1 position in the standings. Not quite there, but just a couple of points back.
And as always, Bradshaw spectacular in victory. San Jose, California was the turning point for Jean-Michel BAYLE. #1 gets a little out of shape and smacks a hay bale. Temporarily dislocated his shoulder. He came back heroically, I thought, to finish the race. But for practical purposes, that was when BAYLE lost his grip on the championship. I think psychologically he gave up on it right there. That left Jeff Stanton to battle for the victory with you-know-who.
Damon Bradshaw. Bradshaw takes the win. He leaves San Jose now in a perfect position to wrap up the title at LA. He's 6 points up on Stanton. Only those two riders really are in contention. BAYLE has a mathematical chance. He's 10 points down. Not much of a chance, but it's still possible.
So at San Jose, Dave, Bradshaw wins it. Stanton finishes second. And as I said earlier, that's the way it'll end up in the title chase tonight.
3 title contenders. I think it's time to meet them. Bob Hanna, the 3-time champion of this series, will spend his evening with Yamaha and Damon Bradshaw. The 2 Honda contenders will be covered by Art Ekman, who's standing by right now with the 2-time champ, Jeff Stanton.
Thanks, Dave. Here in the Honda pits with us is former Supercross champion Jeff Stanton. 6 points down, final race of the year, so your game plan is well defined.
Yeah, it is pretty much defined. I know what I have to do. I just need to go out there and get it done. I have to go out and win the race, and what happens behind me, it's out of my hands. There's nothing I can do. I can just control my own destiny by winning the race.
Very unusual morning rain here in Los Angeles. How did that affect the track?
Actually, it was just perfect. Light mist with a few little spurts here and there. Made the track great. They didn't have to do much water, and it was just spread nice and even, and it's going to be some great racing.
Your teammate Jean-Michel BAYLE 10 points down behind the leader. That's a big handicap to pick up, but he does have a mathematical chance. But he has more of a chance to help you out winning a title. If that occasion arises, what do you think is going to happen?
Well, I'm sure it'll happen. Team Honda's here to win the championship, and whatever it takes to win that championship, they'll do it. If it means Jean-Michel pulling over and letting myself by, or I guess it wouldn't happen vice versa, but if the opportunity comes, it'll happen.
We'll hear from Jean-Michel a little bit later, but right now let's go to 3-time Supercross champion Bob Hanna. He's over at the Yamaha pits.
Thanks, Art. And with me is a series points leader, Damon Bradshaw. Damon, you've won 9 out of 15 races this year, but you've only got a 6-point lead.
Well, we've had some good luck and some bad luck, and the way the point system is now, even as many races I've won, it hasn't put me as far ahead as I'd like to be, but I'm ahead 6 points.
You only need a 3rd place this afternoon to cinch this title. Are we going to see a mild-mannered Damon?
No, I'm going to go out and stick to the same strategy I have all year, and that's to go out and win and get through the start clean, and we'll take the chances from there if they're needed.
You had a small crash last week in an outdoor motocross. Are you 100% now?
Yeah, I'm 100% mentally and physically, and everything's been working good, the bike and everything, so we're ready to go out and win.
Well, good luck this afternoon, Damon.
Thanks a lot.
Now we're going to go to Art Ekman in the Honda pits with an interview with Jean-Michel BAYLE.
Jean-Michel BAYLE with a 10-point deficit to make up. It's going to take an awful lot of luck to get your 2nd straight title.
Yeah, I know, everything, was very well until 2 races before, and I crashed a little bit with my teammate, and so I lose a lot of points. So now I am a little bit, I am very far from the lead, and but I'm going to try my best. I'm just going to try to win the race and just hope then they're going to make some mistakes. So I'm just here to win my race.
Speaking of your teammate, Stanton, if he has a shot at the title and you don't, what's your reaction to that? Would you let him pass?
No, it's never happened like this in a Team Honda. Everybody rides for himself, and if you want to be champion, you have to win the race.
That's it from the Honda pits. Back up to you, Dave.
Larry, did I note a discrepancy between what Stanton said and what BAYLE said about team racing?
I heard it the same way. If Stanton is counting on Jean-Michel BAYLE to move over, I think it's one of those things where you say, ain't going to happen.
Not going to happen here. How'd you like to be the team manager for that outfit?
We're going to take a break and be back. It's the Supercross finale from the LA Coliseum next on ESPN. It's Tinseltown. The pretty people come out to check out the Supercross. Larry Myers and Dave Despain to check out the LA Coliseum racetrack.
Kind of unique. If you look, it goes uphill, downhill, uphill one more time. Actually, they covered a section of the grandstand to get the riders up there and poured a lot of dirt on it, and that makes it extremely unique in normal Supercross nomenclature.
Jeff Stanton likes this racetrack, feels the rain this morning helped it, going through his ritual mental preparation as we take a look at the highlights of the first qualifying heat. Jeff Emig jumped out to the lead, had quite a little race going with Brian Swink, but the guys that everybody in the stadium were watching and talking about were Jeff Stanton and Jean-Michel BAYLE, and look what happened. Stanton gets tangled up in the whoop-de-doos and crashes, and his teammate drills him.
So if there was animosity prior to that upsetting crash, what do we have now? Because both those riders will now have to go into the semifinals to make it into the main, and that's rather an abnormal situation. Here it is again. Stanton just cased that little jump. He's not riding well at all. He's riding rather raggedly, as a matter of fact, and BAYLE just kind of minding his own business and went wham.
And after they whammed, Denny Stevenson and Jimmy Button saw the opportunity, inherited those positions, number 11 and number 39, working their way up through the traffic. But nobody was catching Jeff Emig. Number 8 out front set sail and wins his qualifying moto with comparative ease. The Team Yamaha teammate to Damon Bradshaw heads for the main event. Brian Swink took second, and on the last lap, in the midst of the lap traffic, number 39 Button put a move on Stevenson to claim third as Stevenson settles for a fourth-place finish. Again, this is the first of 2 qualifying heat races, and those are the 4 transfer spots. Stanton and BAYLE go to the semifinal. I repeat my question: how would you like to be the team manager for those guys? We'll go on to the second of the qualifying heat races, and look who's out front.
Well, take your pick. It's all green. Mike KIEDROWSKI, rider number 3, in the number 1 position. Then came Jeff MATIASEVICH. Michael Craig, rider number 59, holding down the number 3 spot. The story, of course, is Damon Bradshaw, who was running in the number 4 slot. And if Jeff Stanton looked a little bit on the ragged side, Bradshaw looks all cut and torn.
Yeah, neither of them riding well at all here. Maybe it's championship pressure. Here's Bradshaw struggling a little bit and chasing Mike Craig, a guy he definitely ought not be racing if he's thinking about being champion here.
Now, you see, Bradshaw is just coming up a little short. He should eat Craig alive normally, and there he made the pass very nicely, but he just doesn't look smooth. He doesn't look like the there. See
Another
that bobble?
Yeah.
He doesn't look like the Damon Bradshaw that won 9 in a row coming into L.A.
Well, he says he's trying to take this race just like any other event, but it's very difficult at the age of 19 to stare that championship in the eye. KIEDROWSKI wins the race, and Bradshaw's old nemesis MATIASEVICH gets second. Damon settles for third ahead of Craig. We are dispatching our pit reporters to get updates on the championship contenders, and we'll have that for you when we return to the LA Coliseum. Back at the LA Coliseum, where Honda's 2 title contenders are going to have to ride the semifinal this afternoon. Jean-Michel BAYLE gets final instructions from Cliff White. Here's an update on what's happened between races from Bob Hanna.
Thanks, Dave. We're here in the Yamaha pits after the second qualifier. It wasn't a great ride for Damon Bradshaw, but I asked them, and they said the bike's all right and Damon's all right. It's just a little bit of a track problem. If you don't get a good start, it's going to be very hard to work up to the front tonight. They're hoping for a better start in the main, and hopefully everything will go well. Let's go to Art Ekman in the Honda pits.
It didn't take long for the rivalry within the Honda team to heat up once again. Jean-Michel BAYLE coming in after heat 1, skidding his bike on the cement, leaving it on the ground in disgust. Stanton and BAYLE retired to their side-by-side trailers in silence. Mechanics were busy readjusting the machine for the semis. Then it was back to business in the semis, an extra race neither wanted.
No, it's better to go straight to the main, but, you know, we crashed together, so one more time, and we have to do all over again.
Things don't always go right, so you just have to learn to adapt. I'm in good enough shape and not worried about the conditions, so just use this as another warm-up.
Well, Stanton seems pretty cool about it all, but I'll say this. These guys are milking the drama for everything it's worth here as the Honda guys end up in the semifinal. Stanton, number 2, gets a pretty decent start. But as we look at the highlights, Bayle is nowhere in sight. He was buried in the back. But in the semifinal, of course, most of the good guys have already moved on to the main event. So he was able to come up and make it a 2-rider race. And I thought this was one of the most interesting matchups.
Indeed. You would have expected after the altercation earlier, although it was one of those racing incidents, that Jean-Michel Bayle could have stayed his distance maybe and taken second place. But I think he was looking for that proverbial point to prove. And he just blasted by Stanton to take over the number 1 spot, grabbed a handful of throttle, and frankly, he tried to burn him as bad as he could.
And Stanton didn't respond. He let him go.
No, he didn't. I think he was happy, Dave, to make it into the main.
They will both move on to the championship final. Bayle with a victory, Stanton with second spot. Neither will have an outstanding starting position on the gate. Brooks, Newmack, and Ward round out the top 10. Let's go back to Art Ekman in the pits.
That 1-2 finish in the semis put a victory smile on Jean-Michel's face and a great sense of confidence as he heads toward the main. But the Stanton crew, they're hard to please, and they are asking for a much better performance from their rider in the main event. Back to you, gentlemen.
And back to the action of semifinal number 2. Take a look at the highlights. How about Guy Cooper? Airtime was living up to his nickname in the last race of the year.
The crowd went nuts. Now, Cooper, you know, I mean, he was sitting out in front. He was sailing. All he had to do was collect the checkered flag. But Coop was not about to do that. He was going to have himself some fun. He razzled, he dazzled the crowd, and as a result, this guy, rider number 12, Doug Dubach, in the closing laps, started to catch up. Now, behind him, of course, Mike Fisher. Great battle as Sean Kalos joins the fray.
And indeed, Kalos moves right on by Fisher and takes over 4th spot. Keith Johnson is 3rd at this moment. And up front, Guy Cooper is intermingling those superhuman leaps with moments in which he appears very human indeed.
You have to wonder, as is frequently the case with Cooper, is he going to keep it upright these last few laps, or as he is prone to do when he gets loose, maybe lay it down on the ground and let these guys run over the top of him.
Now here's the race for 3rd. This is Kalos working his way around Johnson and picking up a spot. Now, you might expect Cooper to get a little more conservative after that bobble.
Look at this. He's in that mode. But remember, I said that that playing around is going to take its toll. Here comes Doug Dubach. Now, watch this, because Dubach had him in his sights. Then, wham! Dubach just cases it on that little series of whoops and color him out of the front couple. That's a shame, too, because he was turning in a heck of a ride.
We're picking on Cooper, and Dubach fell down.
You're absolutely right. Cooper in another one of those. Let me take my hand off and wave at the crowd. Wins it. Kalos 2nd, Dubach 3rd. Johnson and Fisher make it to the main.
And with that, we move to a Supercross memory. The 2-time champion of this series, Jeff Ward, making his final Supercross start and winning. Yeah, it was the last chance qualifier, but nonetheless, it was good to see Wardy take that checkered flag.
Indeed. You know, the crowd was standing all the way around the last couple of laps. They paid tribute to Jeff Ward and what a great career he has had. As we have said on a couple of occasions, this is the final Supercross of just an outstanding career. And whether or not he does well in the main event, he's going to live with this checkered flag for the rest of his life. And that's a great way to go out, Dave.
Plus, the first money's valuable. Pay the diaper service. Jeff became a new father just last night. Eric Kehoe got the last transfer spot to the main event. The Coliseum Championship finale is set. We'll be right back. Back in the L.A. Coliseum as we prepare to review highlights of the 125 Western Region Championship finale. Let's first examine the phenomenon of Supercross aerobatics. Art Ekman filed this report on bike control.
It's exciting to see these outstanding competitors launching through the air. But the quicker they come back down to earth and put the power to the dirt, the better their chances of winning. Oddly enough, it's a small tap on the brake, while in midair, there can be a big factor. If these bikes had taillights, they'd make it look like Christmas. We get all wrapped up in the excitement of the jump, but this technique adds a touch of control to what otherwise appears to be an out-of-control flight.
Over the triples and stuff, you'll see our rear brake lock up in the air. What we're doing, we're leveling the bike out because the back tire is gyroing, so if you stop that, it'll bring the front end down and also cut the distance on how far you're going. So that's why we do that. It's not for show or anything else. We're either leveling the bike out in the air or trying to shorten the distance. We over jump something. We want to come down a little bit.
Most riders watch the veterans. Then practice leads to the experience needed.
And it goes clear back to the bicycle BMX days, you know, just learning the
the gyro effect of the wheels. You know, you can take a bicycle wheel and spin it and just hold on to the axle, you know, off the bicycle, and feel how much twisting the front wheel has a bearing of where you're going and where you're headed.
You know, I saw people doing it and saw people using it, and you know, the technique, and I got to where I wanted to start trying doing it. So one of the days I went out and practiced, and I said I want to start trying to use my back brake, and it was, you know, something that I learned on my own, and it makes a great deal of difference. You know, it's hard now for me to ride without that back brake.
Another mid-flight maneuver is the cross-up, or flattening the bike out. This not only looks spectacular, but is practical as well in cutting down air time. Back up to the booth.
All right, thank you very much, Art. You didn't mention in there that Larry Myers invented that technique back in the 1920s.
I taught most of those guys how to do that.
We're ready for the highlights of the 125 championship main event. There's the launch and the charge to turn one. Lance Smail gets a little out of shape off the gate. Number 68, Ryan Hughes, jumps out to the lead. Watch number 1. That is the series leader, Jeremy McGrath, who has totally dominated the Western Region Antics this year. And he quickly moves into second spot and prepares to challenge Hughes. Comes up the inside here, but Ryan says, I think the outside line's going to be the better, and holds on to the lead.
Well, you understated when you said Jeremy McGrath, Dave, had been the dominating factor. 7 races heading into the Coliseum among the Western Regional riders. McGrath had won 6 of them. That one that he lost was a combination east-west. In Houston, Texas, Brian Swink winning that one. But since that point, McGrath has been unbeatable, and I suspect before this one is over, as a matter of fact, since this is a highlight, we'll go ahead and spill the beans. We'll just tell you right now that he's going to win this one. The move is coming up where he will pass Ryan Hughes. I think he'll take that outside line away from him in just one more lap, and that he's going to be gone. You want to talk about a star of the future? This kid is it.
A lot of talk, a lot of speculation that he'll move up to the Honda 250 team next year and replace Jean-Michel BAYLE. You saw a lap ago, he couldn't make the inside work. Now he comes back around the outside, just as you called it, and that's called learning from your mistakes.
I think that you know, what he had to do first off was put himself in position to move Hughes to the inside. Hughes knew where he wanted to go, but when he tried to get there, McGrath was already there. His front wheel was there, and Hughes had no place to go except take that slower inside line. Pass is made, McGrath is gone, and now we're going to see the battle for the number 2 position.
You bet. The guy we're going to watch is number 22. This is Buddy Antunez. He is the teammate of the series leader, and here he puts a pass on Kyle Lewis around the outside, going up into the peristyle. Boom! Bounces her off the berm and sets his sights on Ryan Hughes. Antunez really charging in the series finale.
He is. Antunez started the season on a slow note. He just didn't seem to have it together, but he has come on strong. Somewhere around mid-season, I think, is when he really started to pick it up. There was the bobble, and man, what kind of action. These guys were really going at it. Not a lot at stake here. Second place had already been sewn up. Third place had sewn up in the series, but I guess we're looking at hometown crowds, pride, and that is more than anything.
And so Jeremy McGrath wins it, and it becomes a team peak antifreeze sweep as they take the top 2 spots thanks to Antunez's superb ride to the runner-up position. And so we make it official for Jeremy McGrath. It is 7 wins in 8 starts en route to the Western Region Championship. Antunez, Hughes, Lewis, and Damon Huffman rounding out the top 5. Boland, Gaddis, Clowers, Smail, and Albrecht also joined the record book. Let's go to Bob Hanna with the winner.
Jeremy, not that you needed that win, but it was another nice one to put in the record books.
Yeah, I decided to go ahead and race 125 as the last race, even though I had the, the points championship. I was thinking about riding 250s, but, I didn't get enough time to practice on it. But, I'm just sure glad I could win coming out of my last race. I won the championship. And, deciding to ride 125 is a little bit scary, just in case I didn't win my last race. But, I'm pretty happy. I'm glad I finished out this series with a win.
I think that's the thing you should have done. Ride that 125 class, show everybody in L.A. who's the champ, and next year go to the 250.
Yeah, I'm glad that, everyone made this possible for me. I'd like to thank Honda, Pro Circuit, Peak Antifreeze, Axo, Scott Goggles, Bell Helmets, couldn't have done it. My mechanic, Skip Norfolk, and especially my parents. I couldn't have done it without all them.
Well, good luck in the 250s next year.
All right, thanks a lot, Bob.
The final point standings show you the dominance of the Peak Antifreeze team here. Art Ekman is with the second member of that team.
Buddy, the best confrontation during that race was the battle for second place. Ryan Hughes made a little mistake. You were at the right place at the right time.
Yeah, this track was really hard to pass, and I just took my time and took them off slowly, and on the last lap, I had a better line than Ryan at the bottom of the hill, and I got by him.
How do you like the L.A. Coliseum?
Oh, the LA Coliseum's always been pretty good to me. I like it a lot.
Best of luck in the future now.
Thanks a lot. Appreciate it.
Now the 125 class is history. Jeff Stanton doing the Supercross stop and hoping to pull off the Miracle Championship here in the 250 class, trailing by 6 points from this man, Damon Bradshaw. The championship finale of the 92 season is at the gate. We'll have the action when we return to the LA Coliseum. We're back at the LA Coliseum where the championship finalists are on the parade lap here, and these fans have got it figured out. Bayle, Bradshaw, or Stanton. They pretty well covered
Who'd they leave out there?
Pretty well covered the contenders. Bradshaw, with a 6-point lead in hand, can clinch it all with a third-place finish here tonight. But looming in the back of Team Yamaha's mind must be the inconsistency this season. 9 victories, yes, but also those crashes that kept him from clinching it early. The knock on Damon is he can't win a championship. Here's what he says it means to him.
It's real important. You know, it's something that I've wanted a whole lot this year. Yamaha wants it. You know, also my mechanic. I mean, he likes winning. He knows what it's like to win and knows what it takes to win. And I know what it takes to win, but I'm learning what it takes to win a championship. And I think that's added a lot to me this year. And I think just the fact of having so much more experience is what's added to me being this far along. And the bike and everybody behind me. I mean, it's just not me. I mean, it's a mechanic. It's a team manager. It's the 2 guys we have with suspension and motor fabrication. So it's a lot of things that add up to it. It's just not one person.
Brian Lunas, Damon's mechanic, has tuned for some of the greats, including Bob Hanna, Donnie Hansen, Ricky Johnson. Tonight, he will try to lend his expertise to help pull Damon through. But ultimately, when that gate drops, it's all in Bradshaw's hands.
Indeed it is, Dave. And the whole key, if there is a key to this race, it's Bradshaw's performance in the early going, I feel. Bradshaw needs to go for the lead. He can't settle. He can't ride for that number 3 position. If he does, then I think he has an opportunity to get into trouble. If he rides his own race and really goes for it all the way, then he's got this one in the bag.
Well, he says he's trying to treat it like just another race. We'll know in a moment. The sign drops, and the gate will too, and we'll be underway with the series finale. The charge to turn 1. Let's see who gets out front. Bradshaw did not get a great start. There's a tangle back in the pack. Stanton grabs the lead. Bradshaw is 4th. Ahead of him, Guy Cooper and Brian Swink battle for the 2nd spot. Stanton is in position right now to clinch the championship.
And Mike KIEDROWSKI has moved past Bradshaw. He's taken over the number 4 position. That dropped Bradshaw back 1 more notch. Bradshaw is riding conservative. He can't do that, Dave. He has got to go for that number 1 position quickly, or he'll get into a rut.
Jean-Michel Bayle, meanwhile, is far back in the pack. Look for him here as they clear the finish line jump on lap 1, and we don't see him inside the top 10. Bradshaw goes back after KIEDROWSKI. He needs to be going to the front instead of to the back. He is riding 5th as they head up the peristyle on lap 1 with Jeff Stanton, the leader. And we've got a rider down.
Rider number 30, Larry Brooks, and you saw to the inside of the peristyle. Rider number 1, Jean-Michel Bayle. He was about in 7th place. Here's the battle up front. Guy Cooper is giving Jeff Stanton fits. Look at this.
Keep in mind that both of these guys came through the semifinals, so they didn't have great spots on the gate, but they got good starts. And Cooper, who was phenomenal in the semi, now challenges Stanton, who is in position, if this race ended right now, to win the championship. He's doing exactly what he needs to do.
Well, and so is Bradshaw. Now, both KIEDROWSKI and Bradshaw have gone by Brian Swink, so that puts Bradshaw in 4th. He needs to pass 1 more rider. He's got to pass KIEDROWSKI, or he's got to pass Cooper, and he'll wrap up the title with that 3rd place finish, no matter what Stanton does. And he's riding well right now, a good controlled race, and I don't see how you can keep him out of the top 3, Dave.
The issue, of course, could be Jean-Michel Bayle. He is expected to play some sort of spoilers role here tonight. It would be a long shot for him to win the championship, but he hasn't gotten up there to mix it up with anybody yet, and Stanton has pulled away from Cooper. Jeff has dug down deep here tonight, and we're going to go back and take a look at the start and see how Damon Bradshaw found himself in 4th spot as they came off the gate.
Well, watch this. He's lined up next to Mike KIEDROWSKI. Now, look at the two of them. And elbow to elbow. As a matter of fact, there's some contact. And that let Stanton just move in front of Bradshaw, slam the door. And that gave him that little bitty edge he needed to get through the first corner.
And it leaves KIEDROWSKI and Bradshaw racing for position. And as it turns out, it is the critical position for which they are competing. 3rd spot is up for grabs. It's Kawasaki versus Yamaha. If Bradshaw can get that spot, it's worth who knows how many dollars, Larry.
Well, a couple of points that I would make here, Dave. If you looked out front, Stanton is riding extremely well now. That's not the same Stanton that we saw in the heat races. Meanwhile, Damon Bradshaw is riding a little bit on the conservative side. I really think that while he looks comfortable, he should have made a move or two to try to get on the inside or the outside of KIEDROWSKI. He can't continue to follow him. If he does, he's going to be in that rut, and he's going to be hurting right now. And look, he's faltering just a little bit. He just doesn't look like Bradshaw now.
Yeah, I don't know whether I'd say he looks comfortable or not, Larry. He looks to me like he's struggling a little bit. He seems to be trying to do things that just aren't working.
Well, in the struggles, you'll see they have caught up with Cooper, so they're going extremely fast. Cooper's running in a number 2 position, and both KIEDROWSKI and Bradshaw are catching him, and here comes BAYLE. Now, this is going to be interesting. What is Jean-Michel BAYLE going to do? He's out of the chase for the championship. I don't see him catching Stanton, but he could be a factor in helping his teammate. Remember, though, what he said in the early going? He said, no, I'm not helping. He's going to have to do it himself.
Roby Benton leads the race and potentially the championship. Here is the development. Jean-Michel BAYLE, Stanton's teammate, has caught Damon Bradshaw and is racing him for 4th spot. His mechanic, Cliff White, urging BAYLE on. Past the Yamaha, get behind us to the front.
BAYLE came from out of the pack to catch Bradshaw, but since moving up to the rear wheel, he's not done anything except follow. Now, this is one of the big mysteries. Well, I don't know if it's a mystery or not because we're watching it unfold, but it looks to me like BAYLE really is not trying all that hard to get around Bradshaw.
He had a momentary window there as Bradshaw got hung up in a rut. BAYLE probably could have jammed inside him, but elected not to. And so Bradshaw continues to ride 4th, 1 position short of what he needs to clinch the crown, and BAYLE is back there, I don't know, stalking him, shadowing him, or just watching him. He's certainly not pressing him.
It's almost like Jean-Michel BAYLE is saying to himself, hey, I'm not going to be a factor in the championship. I'm not going to win it, so I'm going to stay out of it. I'm not going to get between my own teammates, Stanton and Bradshaw. I'll let them settle it. Funny for a team player to react that way, but that's the way it looks to me.
Well, remember, as we watch the battle now heating up here for the 2nd spot, there goes KIEDROWSKI. KIEDROWSKI has passed Cooper and taken over 2nd place. So perhaps there is a challenger here to Stanton's supremacy. KIEDROWSKI, for the moment, the fastest man on the racetrack, displaces Cooper in the runner-up spot. Remember the arithmetic. If Stanton wins, Bradshaw must be 3rd, and he is back about 5 to 6 bike lengths behind Cooper, still stuck in 4th spot. Out front, let's talk about Jeff Stanton. He is riding magnificently.
He definitely is. This is not the same Stanton we have seen for the past couple of weeks. Boy, the pressure doesn't seem to be bothering him at all. Now, here comes Bradshaw. He now is catching Cooper. Question has to be, which is the easier of the 2 riders to pass, Mike KIEDROWSKI or Guy Cooper? Normally, I might have to say Cooper because KIEDROWSKI's a little bit on the wild side, but today Cooper has been all over the track, and I would hesitate to say this, but Cooper could end up taking the 2 of them out, before this is over.
Well, Bradshaw's got to be thinking about that, but mostly he's got to be thinking pass. He's not afraid of anybody out there. He's the most aggressive guy on the racetrack, and tonight he's just having trouble putting things together. He needs to pass somebody.
He does. Cooper is in that loose mode. Man, when he's going like that, the guy is just flat flying. But sometimes he lets himself get into trouble because of that. He's holding it down well now. But my hat's off to him. He's doing a heck of a job.
We watched Jeff Stanton. I thought he had surrendered the championship at San Jose when he let Bradshaw catch him from behind and run him down. He has come back tonight doing exactly what he's got to do. That's the subject of Art Ekman's report.
As the contenders vie for the extra $100,000 and the 1992 Supercross title, Keith McCartney, the Yamaha team manager right behind me, has already pre-calculated what it will take for his rider, Damon Bradshaw, to win the title.
For instance, on his chart, if Stanton is in 6th, Bradshaw needs a 12th to become the Supercross champion. Jean-Michel BAYLE is also figured on that chart.
Well, crashes or mechanical failure are always unpredictable elements in this, but for the moment, Stanton's making the arithmetic easy. He's leading the race. He's letting Bradshaw know exactly what he's got to do. He's got to pass.
Oh, and Damon Bradshaw almost came unglued. He hit a bale on the side of the racetrack. Talk about ragged. Now, that slowed him down considerably. He's got to stop and think. Am I pushing too hard? What in the world am I doing? That was almost a tragedy there for Bradshaw.
Guarantee you we'll be taking another look at that moment in which perhaps...
Here it is. Look at this. Now watch him just clip that bale. There it comes, and see him just hit it with the rear wheel, then over with his peg. He actually hit 2 bales there. And boy, he's just coming up short. He's just riding ragged, Dave.
And speaking of bales, here comes another one.
Yeah, here comes another one, but that bale is more or less stationary right now. He had another opportunity to make the pass, didn't take it. Meanwhile, the Yamaha camp, look at them. They are getting anxious. They're upset. They want something to happen here, Dave.
Well, I tell you, Lunas he's looking like he just doesn't understand.
Yeah.
He can't figure out what's wrong with Damon Bradshaw, and I guarantee you Damon Bradshaw can't figure out what's wrong with Damon Bradshaw. Nothing's working.
I keep watching Jean-Michel Bayle, who coasted through the last 2 turns to let Bradshaw stay in front of him.
He has made a decision that he is not going to pass Damon Bradshaw. I think that much is clear. You're the expert. Speculate about why he wouldn't make the pass.
I think that he's practicing his road racing. He's going to France in another week, and hopefully he's going to do more passing on the pavement than he is here on the dirt. I don't know the answer to that one, Dave. We know that they dislike each other. To that extent, I would never have guessed it would have gotten that far. But Bayle is just floundering around out there trying to stay out of the way.
Well, I tell you, it looks like a slow race at the field meet. Which one of these guys can go the slowest? It's unbelievable. We'll be back with more right after this. 92's biggest disappointment in terms of sports would be Dan O'Brien's failure to make it to the Olympics. Certainly the Reebok people thought that. The Dan and Dave shootout that didn't happen. But for Team Yamaha, it's going to be this night right here. Damon Bradshaw stuck in 4th, pursued but not challenged by Jean-Michel Bayle, is in the process of losing the 1992 Supercross Championship.
We have seen so many things this season, so many ups, so many downs, that I'm not going to speculate that it's all lost, because we still have KIEDROWSKI, we still have Stanton, we still have Cooper, and they have to ride error-free from here on out. They bobbled, and Bradshaw's going to be back in it, but he is not helping his cause. And I would point out again, Dave, that the only one helping his cause right now is Jean-Michel Bayle.
Bayle could certainly make matters worse for Bradshaw if he passed him. He's shown no inclination to do that. We can only speculate about Bayle's motivation, or in this case, lack of motivation. But keep in mind that he thinks Jeff Stanton knocked him off at San Jose in the next to last series race. Perhaps this is a form of retaliation. In any case, all of this is happening far behind the 3rd place that Damon Bradshaw has to have to win that championship. Unless somebody else crashes or blows up, Stanton is going to be the champion.
Yeah, we've been harping on Bayle, we've been harping on Bradshaw, but this guy is getting the job done, and we can't give him enough credit. The pressure was really on him. He had to go out, he had to win, he had to perform. He had not been riding well enough to do that. But man, he clicked the light switch, and it's been night and day. He's hitting everything right.
Look at the interval back to 2nd place here as he pulls away a little bit from KIEDROWSKI. Perhaps the bottom line, Larry, is that Jeff Stanton has been here before and has survived this championship pressure. Damon Bradshaw hasn't done that yet.
I will tell you this, if Mike KIEDROWSKI can do it, he will catch Stanton, and he will try to make the pass. KIEDROWSKI's not going to give anything away to either one of these 2 guys. He would love to take the win and be the spoiler in the whole thing.
He doesn't care about the
not one little bit.
He wants to win a race. He's never won one of these things. So perhaps for Damon Bradshaw, the best hope right now is this guy, KIEDROWSKI. Early on, he was the fastest man in the race, but I'll tell you what, I'll take all the change in my pocket and bet you right now that if he catches Jeff Stanton, he'll never get around him. Stanton will not let that happen.
Well, Stanton has, we have seen this a couple of times. He is, you know, he's in that zone where what he's doing is right. He can pick up the pace. He can let it down just a little bit. We've seen him adjust his riding accordingly, where Bradshaw, the zone he's in, is all bad. And Bayle just continues to watch and follow.
Bradshaw's in the twilight zone, and I frankly am amazed to see it. there were a lot of possible scenarios coming into this race. One was that Damon Bradshaw would go out and crash away the championship. It wouldn't have surprised me a bit. The one thing I did not expect Damon Bradshaw to do was to come here and be mediocre.
The only thing I can think, Dave, is that he was riding, and look, here comes Jeff Emig from out of the pack. He has caught them. Bayle saw that, and Bayle said, goodbye. I'm not messing around with Emig. I'm going to go ahead and make the pass. Look at him pull away. He was ready to leave. Now that is throwing a little bit of salt onto the wounds.
Just one observation about Jean-Michel Bayle. This is the biggest race in the life of Damon Bradshaw and Jeff Stanton. The biggest race in Jean-Michel Bayle's life is next weekend when he goes and road races in Europe. He's done with Supercross. We'll be back to see if Jeff Stanton can pull it out right after this. Finish to the 1992 Camel Supercross Championship. The defending champ is out of there, Jean-Michel Bayle. Danny Bentley frantically signaling to lap riders, get out of my man's way. And his man is Jeff Stanton, number 2, who is less than a lap away from a 3rd Supercross championship.
Well, the white flag is out, signifying 1 lap remaining. And Dave, the fat lady, is about to sing.
I would not have predicted it. I thought that Stanton, as I said before, had given up on this championship when he was beaten, and beaten rather soundly in the next to last series race. I thought Bradshaw had what it took. When it came down to the last race of the year, it was Stanton who reached in.
Well, you asked me at the outset of the program for a forecast who was going to win, and I said to you, Stanton is going to win it in a walk.
That's
remember?
Not the way I remember it. I don't recall that prediction that way. He has done what he had to do by focusing on the objective, and now Stanton will come to the final checkered flag. Only his 3rd of the season. Compare that to 9 for his rival, but consistency. He didn't crash it away. He rode consistently, and he is number 1.
Look at that. He raised his arm. He's going to park. He knows he has won it, but he's going to wait up there to see for sure. Look at that. Boy, is he happy or what?
This is the stone face. This is the guy who never shows any emotion. I guarantee you, this is the biggest moment in Jeff Stanton's life. Let's enjoy it with the crowd here at Los Angeles.
That was Dave Arnold behind him, and Dave was up there to make sure they didn't screw up any of the scores, I think.
For Bradshaw, what can you say? Failure to perform under pressure. When the critical moment came, he didn't have what it took. This man did, and so Team Honda celebrates Stanton's 3rd championship.
We'll point out quickly, that's Dan Bentley, the mechanic that just tore up his chalkboard, and the motorcycle that Stanton slammed to the ground. I don't think Dan cares. I'll fix her.
They have pulled the fat from the fire. Stanton is number 1 in 1992. Art Ekman is trackside with the man who could have been the spoiler today.
Mike, you not only rode a great race for 2nd place, but also might be a good feeling that you helped determine a national championship here with your great ride.
You know, I was out there trying as hard as I could. It was humid here today at the LA Coliseum, and, you know, I rode as good as I could, you know, and Stan wasn't too far in front of me, but I need to just hang it out a little bit more, I think, and, you know, I would have been able to get him. I wasn't even thinking. I didn't even know where Bradshaw was, nothing, and my mechanic was just saying, go, get Stanton, get him, you know. That's what counts, so Stanton rode good. If anybody got it, I think he deserves it.
What about next year? You staying put?
Yeah, I'm going to be with Kawasaki, and, you know, I'll do the best I can. I got a good Supercross track I'm putting in, so maybe that'll help me out.
Congratulations, Mike.
Thanks.
The celebration begins for 24-year-old Jeff Stanton of Sherwood, Michigan. Here's a statistic I think is relevant. He has won tonight his 16th Supercross race. Damon Bradshaw, in contrast, has won 17. But Jeff Stanton has won 3 championships, and Damon Bradshaw still looking for the first one. The bottom line is, in this sport, this guy is number 1. We'll be right back to hear from him. Pressure. There is no gentler way to describe what has happened to Damon Bradshaw here this evening. He has lost the Supercross championship.
Well, he has indeed, and what a shame for obviously the entire Yamaha camp. But my heart really goes out to Bradshaw. He's the one that lost it. He's the one that is going to feel it and have to answer in days to come.
Bob Hanna is with the winner, Jeff Stanton.
Jeff Stanton, that was a nice ride to win today, but I don't know that even winning this race means that much. You won the championship, and I think that's what you came here for.
Yeah, that's what I came here for. Thank God it worked out. It's just the happiest, it's the happiest moment of my life. Last 2 weeks I've been thinking about this, going through my head, and man, it couldn't have worked any better. I'm so happy.
A tough year for you. It didn't really just fall into place. You had a lot of hard work.
It's a lot of hard work. The bikes weren't the best. Everybody knows it. The consistency pays off. What else can I say? You can't fall on your head and expect to win. And
does it make it tough coming down to the last race? I've been there, and I know the pressure's terrible. It was a bad day for you, I'm sure, until the last 5 minutes.
Yeah, it started out bad. My qualifier fell, and my semi had to go to semi. But you just take the good with the bad and keep plucking away. And the main couldn't have went any better.
I'll tell you one thing, that was the most exciting race I've seen in probably this year. The pressure was on everybody, and I was nervous for you.
Thanks, Bob. But yeah, the pressure. All three of us had pressure. I mean, I had pressure. I showed that in my heat races. Rode terrible, but I just got all my crap, put in a little ball for the main event, and it worked perfect.
Congratulations.
Thanks.
Now, there's the quote of the weekend from Jeff Stanton. If we take a look at the top 5, Stanton, KIEDROWSKI, Cooper, BAYLE, Bradshaw in 5th. That was the key. Emig, Swink, Fisher, Brooks, and Ward round out the top 10. Let's hear from Damon Bradshaw.
Damon, I know disappointment right now remains, well, it's supreme.
Yeah, I guess I could say I ran myself on the ground. I just was way too tight. And, you know, I think I was concentrating way too hard. I didn't ride my race. And couldn't put anything together. I kept putting things together, and then something would happen. I'd make a mistake, and it was like I was fighting a losing battle. But, you know, no excuses.
Still a great year.
Yeah, it has been. It's been a good year. You know, I was able to win 9 races, and, you know, I don't know what I ended up in the series, but whatever I did, I didn't win, so.
You mentioned before that if something like this happened, you wish you had a race tomorrow to make up for it.
Well, yeah, I do. It's been a long year. You know, it hasn't been easy. It's been tough. Every race has been tough, and I'm just going to deal with it and go on. I'll be back next year.
As we take a look at the final standings, give Damon Bradshaw this. He was graceful in defeat. He took it squarely on his own shoulders. No excuses. Didn't blame anybody else. Rounding out the top 10 in the points. And we will remember this 1992 Supercross Fest, I think, for this scene right here. When the season-long roller coaster ride of emotion was all done, Jeff Stanton had emerged as the champion.
That was for the 3rd time in his career. There are still more championships to come, I predict, Dave. What a season it has been. I appreciate working with you in the booth. We've seen a lot of lead changes, but you and I have been here through all.
And we've loved every minute of it. Our congratulations to Jeff Stanton. Our thanks to all the event promoters and to the American Motorcyclist Association. It's been a thrill to bring it to you here on ESPN. For Art Eckman and Bob Hanna, I'm Dave Despain with Larry Myers. So long from the LA Coliseum.